Alright, so we've got to review some quadratics. Does anybody know what a quadratic looks like? Good.
It's got that U.
It looks like
Quadratic. Yeah, it looks like a U.
no, it does look like a U.
Or an N if it's split.
Alright, so I'll wait.
Quit.
No. Okay, so quadratic. There was one of the parent functions you're supposed to know though. So you have quadratic parabolas, another way of naming them. They have you may know the parent function equation that goes with them. Nope. F of x equals x squared. Okay, so that's the parent function. You may remember the standard form for a parabola.
A squared. No, A. I thought I had it, but then I decided not to say what I was going to say.
Okay. Anybody want to have an out, Stephanie? Yes, it does start out f of x, or it could be set equal to 0. That's kind of on the right track.
Wait, hold up.
It said I think it was.
No, let me think here. I'm serious.
Thank you, sir. Get to class on time.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Quick to smart. That was it. It wasn't S squared plus.
Something in front of it.
What? Oh.
Yes. Starts out with ax squared plus bx plus c. That is the standard form. Okay, so this is the ones that we're working with right now. Standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. So now, what do we know about any of those variables in there? Do we know anything about a, b, or c? Should. Not do we. What do we know? Okay, let's see. Nope. Justin? C is the, what'd you say? Y-intercept, the starting point. Alright, so C is the y-intercept. So if we were looking at a graph, or not a graph, if we were looking at an equation, any equation I give you, you can tell me the y-intercept automatically, right? Okay. What else do we know? No, you don't know anything about me. No. Okay, so if it's not C, it's not B, then it must be A. So what do we know that A tells us? If you have it in your nose, A tells us something. A does tell us something. What does A tell us? What does A tell us?
No.
Guys, we have work to do when we do it in a class.
How wide are things?
Well, actually it does, but that's not what I'm looking for. What? Well, why don't we have it in our notes? Why can't we flip back to our notes and look and find it? You're taking notes? Mr. You're taking notes the whole time? Why can't we find it? Do what? A tells us whether it opens up or down. Okay, so which way would be up? If A is positive, it opens up, which means it opens up this way. So is there a maximum or minimum? The minimum. So this vertex is a minimum. Okay, so if A is positive opens up, then A is negative, it opens down. So it would look like that, which means the vertex would be a maximum. So just by looking at the equation, we know whether it opens up or down, we know whether it has a max or a min, and we know where the y-intercept is. We know those three things automatically just by looking at the equation. Alright, now, on the vertex, we talk about it different ways, but the vertex is an x and a y, but they use it as, they do the vertex to be negative b over 2a. We're doing that, we negative b over 2a to find the x part of the vertex, and then you plug that number back in when you said f of negative b over 2a. We did that. But then what is that thing called that is the line of symmetry? What do we call it? It's that line that splits the parabola in half. It's never graphed, but it splits the parabola in half. It's a vertical line. It splits that parabola where it's a mirror image on both sides. What's that line called? Axis of symmetry. It's the axis of symmetry, but we know that the axis of symmetry is an equation. I just said it was a vertical equation, and you're supposed to know all vertical equations, all vertical lines have the equation x equals, and it just so happens that it equals the x part of the vertex. So if you know the vertex, you know the axis of symmetry. And you should be writing all this down, because you're going to need all this in order to do today's assignment. But it should be all the stuff that you know anyway. Alright, so, if I had an equation such as, there, we need to set that up, and we need to do what we're doing. Alright, so if we had this equation, let's see, f of x equals x squared plus 4x plus 3. If you had that equation, I said, okay, which way does that open, up or down? It opens up, right? Okay, so we know, I'm just going to draw we know it opens up. Stays open. Well, this one opens up. How do we know it opens up? What's positive? The number in front, not the 4x. The a, the number in front of the x squared is positive. Okay? If I wanted to look at the graph, I could look at the graph, but let's do my y-intercept. What's my y-intercept? Where does this cross the y-axis? 3, right there. So it crosses at 3. If I want to know the vertex, I could find it by hand, but what would be an easier way? Yeah, it's not the easiest way. What's the easiest way? What do you have at your disposal if you do? Calculator. Okay, so calculator. Of which you could use a calculator to find the vertex. If we knew the vertex, then whatever that first number was, we could find our axis of symmetry, and we could actually graph it, couldn't we? So let's do that right there. Let's do x squared plus 4x plus 3. So on your calculator, under y equals, we're going to put in x squared plus 4x plus 3. And I didn't do the square. There we go. So x squared plus 4x plus 3. So if we have that, And I'm gonna go ahead and forewarn you, I picked up 3 phones already today. So if you have your phone out, I don't care if you use it or not, you better put it in your book bag right now. It should not be under your leg, it should not be under your calculator, it should not be under your paper, it should not be hidden in any place whatsoever. It should not be on your body. It should be out of sight. Put your bag in the book. What? It should not be anywhere on you right now. Probably put it up. That way we have no distractions. No, we don't even know that somebody is texting us that should be texting us, or Snapchatting us, or Instagramming us, or anything else. It should not even happen. Whatever it is, I could care less. That way we have no distractions, because I got half of you not paying attention again, and that test is coming up, and some of you, the only way you're going to pass is to pass that test. Depends on what you do on the test. But if you're sitting there doing nothing, then you ain't gonna pass the test. So when I graph this and I go through 6, that's what I get. Now, can I find the vertex from here? And that's how I find the vertex. Look at this, how I find the vertex. What set of buttons do we push to find the vertex? Second count, and then what do we do from there? To start, second count. Minimum. It's the minimum. So second count's minimum. And then remember we go to the left of it, hit enter, and go to the right of it and hit enter. And hit enter one more time to get that vertex. So our vertex is -2, -1. So then we could fill in our vertex, -2, -1. Once I know the vertex, I also know the axis of symmetry. It's the equation x equals that number, that first number, -2. I saw a graph there. I could draw a quick sketch of a graph if I wanted to. One thing I didn't put up here though, is put here the x-intercept. I forgot to put x-intercept. Going back to that graph, does it cross the x-axis? Yeah, it does cross the x-axis. Could we find where it crosses the x-axis? Lots of different ways we could find. One of them would be the table. We could look at the table. What is y anywhere on the x-axis? 0. Y is 0. So if I looked at my table and saw where there were some zeros, I could find my x-intercept. Where does that sucker cross? At -3 and -1. -3, -1. So on my x-intercept column, I could put -3, -1. I could tell a lot about that parabola just from looking at the equation and then doing the vertex. Pretty much everything we would need. So let's see, what if we did this one? F of x equals x squared plus 7x plus 12. X squared plus 7x plus 12. Do we know which way it opens? It opens up because that number right there is opposite the number on the x squared. So I know it opens up. Where does it cross the y-axis? 12. That last number crosses that. Can I graph it and find everything else? Yeah. So let's graph it. X squared plus 7x plus 12. I could graph it. Now, that looks like it crosses in 2 places. I could zoom in on it just to see. I could do second calculate zoom in and put my little cursor over there. And this will show me right where it crosses. Looks like whole numbers, doesn't it? So I could go back to that table to see. To me, it looks like -2 and -3. Well, I was wrong, -3, -4. So there's my x-intercept. So I can put -3, -4 right here, my x-intercept. Go back to that graph. Let me just go back to the standard window. What else do I need to know? Vertex. How do we do the vertex minimum? Second, calculate a minimum for number 3. So we're going to, let's see. I know I'm at 0, 12, so I'm up here somewhere. So I got to move my cursor back down to the left. And right to the left of it. And to the right of it. And hit enter one more time. So it looks like -3.5 and -0.25. So -3.5, -0.25. So there's my vertex. Do I know my axis of symmetry now? Yeah, what is it? It's an equation that starts with x equals, guys, you're getting ready to do a buttload of problems just like these all on your own. So if you're not paying attention, you're going to be up a creek. It always starts with x equals, and it's x equals that first number. I've said that I don't know how many times. X equals -3.5. Could I draw a graph? Yes. I could sketch it out real quick. This one. What's that equation? It opens down because what? Because that number on the x squared is negative. So we know it opens down. That's easy. We know it crosses the y-axis where? 4. We know it crosses here at 4. That part's simple. Can we graph it? Yeah. Put it right in the calculator. -2x squared plus 8x plus 4. Graph. Now we can see the whole thing. So what do I need to do? Why is everybody not typing this in your calculator? Why do I have to say that every day? I'm so sorry, I'm asking you to do something that the state of North Carolina asked you to do. It's not me that's going to let you graduate. It will be me that will give you a grade that you earn for doing something or for doing nothing in a lot of the cases. I need to increase my what? The Y, which one? The Y maximum. I need to increase the Y maximum. It's at 10. I don't know really what I want. I'm just going to try 20 just to see. It doesn't matter. We just want to see the top of it. So we want to see the top work good because what do we need to calculate? The vertex. So when we calculate that vertex, the second calculate, it's a maximum this time. You're still going to the left and the right. What is that? 1.99999 round to? 2. So that's T12. So my vertex is T12. So what's my axis of symmetry? X equals 2. X equals 2. I could draw my graph, but the one thing over here, I haven't done my x-intercept yet. Now, on this one, does it look like it crosses at a whole number? Doesn't, does it? So there's another way we can find, because there's not going to be any zeros on that table. Come on. See, there's no zeros anywhere on that table in the Y. So we're not going to be able to look at the table that easy and find the intercept. So there is another way we can do the intercept. Everybody remember? Because we want to intersect two things. We want to intersect our graph, and what do we want to put in Y2? We want to intersect it with this line, that x-axis. Well, what's the equation of that line? It's a horizontal line. If a vertical line has an x equals equation, a horizontal line has a y equals. Well, what does y equal anywhere on this line? 0. So we're going to put in y2, we're going to put in 0, just what we did less than a month ago. And you were supposed to have learned this. Now we're just going to intersect those two lines. So second calc intersect. I'm just going to move that cursor to that intersection point and hit enter 3 times. What does that look like? About negative 0.5? Okay, if we do the other one, second calc intersect, and go over to the other side, hit enter 3 times, and about 4.50, or 4.4, whatever. We won't split hairs on that. So negative 0.5 and or positive 4.5. So we've got our x-intercept. All right. So here's what you're going to do. Let's just give me a piece of paper. Now I'm going to explain what you're going to do. Colored piece of paper. Got the white sheet of paper like you passed out, and now a colored sheet of paper. Is there any extras anywhere? Set back up. Everybody got it now? Alright, here's what you're going to do. On that white sheet of paper, you see across the top it says equation, opens up or down, x-intercept, line, symmetry, vertex, and graph, correct? And then down the side you see, I think there's 9 or 10, something like that, equations. Everybody see that? When you first get these scissors, I'm going to pass out here in just a minute, you're going to cut out, well, that's not what I want. You're going to cut out that strip that includes those titles and all of those equations. Okay? So you're going to cut out the equation and then that strip of titles. That's it. And you're going to then glue it onto that colored sheet of paper. Everybody understand that? So that is going to leave you then with all of these little bitty blocks right here, correct? Okay. Now, eventually, all those little bitty blocks are going to be cut out individually because they're not in order. that first row, those do not all go with that first equation. And I don't think any of them go with that first equation. So you're going to have this block from the graph all the way to where it says open, up or down, all the way over. And you're basically doing a matching activity. So for this equation, you're going to tell me, you're going to glue in here for that equation, y equals, y equals 2x, whatever it says, minus 6 squared. You're going to tell me whether it opens up or down. I'm going to do a little thing in there. You're going to tell me what the x-intercepts are, what the line of symmetry is, what the vertex is, and what the graph is. Okay? Now, let's think about this. Which one of these columns is the easiest to do? Up or down. Okay? So if it were me, I would glue in this strip, very first thing like you have to. Then I would cut out my up or down column and cut all those out, and I'd go ahead and glue them where they needed to be. Okay, now, which one might be the next one that would be easy? Well, you gotta have something before you can do the line of symmetry. The vertex. You gotta do the vertex. So if you type in the equation and then find the vertex, will you know the line of symmetry? Yes. So then you can glue in the vertex and line of symmetry. Alright? Once you typed it in, could you find the graph? Yeah. Can you also find the x-intercept? Yeah. So all that is in there. The first thing I would do is cut out that strip, little Tetris-looking piece of paper, glue it on there. Then I'd go ahead and do all my ups and downs, opens up and down. I'd do all those first. Then I would go equation by equation and go from there. Does everybody understand what you're doing? Okay, I'm going to pass out scissors, I'm going to pass out glue, and you've got to be turned in by the end of class. It's going to be a quiz grade. So it should be an easy 100 for you. You can put it on the back, or you can put it up at the top, wherever you want to put it. Yes? You shouldn't have a worksheet. But if you do anything else, yeah, you would put it with it. You shouldn't have one. But, all right, so everybody has questions?